Today, I'm heading up the road to Huntersville, North Carolina, to visit one of the most recognizable faces in sports for the last 40 years. Patrolling the sidelines of the NFL for 16 years, he won 3 Super Bowl championships and has been regarded by many as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. But he walked away from the game he loved to pursue a childhood dream, owning a race team. And since, Joe Gibbs Racing has become one of NASCAR's powerhouse teams, with 9 championships across 3 series with some of the biggest names in the sport.
You're awesome, man. Is that awesome? Yeah, you're my hero, man. Thank you so much.
But for a man that's experienced the triumphs of 2 different professional sports and has been named to the Pro Football and NASCAR Hall of Fame, he's faced his share of tragedy, losing his son, JD, to a degenerative brain disease just a few years ago. But his life is built on the foundation of his Christian faith, and it keeps him going.
That was meant to be.
JD's name is on that car. I just thank the Lord for letting us be a part of it.
And today, I'm going to catch up with the man we simply call Coach.
I'm Kyle Petty, race car driver, musician, speed enthusiast. I know where I found my passions in life, but I'm always curious about where others found theirs. And I've figured out over the years, the best way to get to know someone better is over a little food. So I'm hitting the road to catch up with some friends, to hear their life stories, and you're invited. Pull up a seat and join us for this edition of Dinner Drive.
There you are.
How about it?
Listen, I didn't think you would be here. They told me you come every day, but I thought you'd be off playing golf somewhere, man.
They told me I'm supposed to act like I'm happy to see you. Is that correct? Is that correct?
That's exactly. That's the whole point of this show, is to make me look good. Listen, this place is huge. It's fantastic. I guess this is what winning all these championships do for you?
Well, my thrill the first of every month is trying to find a way to pay for it.
Listen,
Okay, how do we pay for it?
I grew up in that environment, too. I know how it is.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've been here. I want to go in and look around. Will you give me a little show?
Let's do it.
Let's
do it. Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
So this is where the magic happens.
This is it, really.
Yeah.
These guys are the key. And I think sometimes when I come down here, it seems like it picks up a little bit. The action picks up. I told them when you're underneath the car and your feet go this way, we know you're asleep.
Sleep. That's good. That's a good way to judge it. I heard the legend that this place was a football field in length, but it looks like a football field and a half to me. Now, I'm not much of a football player, but it's growing.
It keeps growing.
Yeah.
I got to tell you the truth. Think about the very first year, 17 people,
Wow.
1 car.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, built this building, and then we added on to this building. So it's unbelievable. And our people, a lot of them have been here 25 and 30 years. They built it, really.
Listen, I see a lot of familiar faces. I'm glad you made winners out of them. I couldn't do it, but I'm glad you did. But I do have to say this. There's a car up top, up in the lobby that we passed on the way in, and I want to know a little bit more about that before we go somewhere.
Let's go see it.
Let's go see it.
I think it'd be great.
It's obvious this car's been in Victory Lane somewhere. Tell me the story. Tell me where this car's been.
This car is part of the most important victory that I've ever had in sports, because it was all about JD at that point and everything that happened.
Denny Hamlin wins his 2nd Daytona 500 and wins it for Coach Gibbs.
Get it for JD. Throws it all in, my friend.
What a day for JD Gibbs, for Joe Gibbs, for that whole team.
JD actually found Denny racing late models in Manassas. And so when JD went to be with the Lord, Denny said, I want to put his name on the door. They both had 11. JD played quarterback in high school, and he had number 11.
That's another
Denny raced
connection.
11. It's crazy the way it all came together with the number 11. So there's a lot to it, and now we have it here.
When you come through the lobby here and you see this car, you talk about being the most important sports victory in your life. What emotions does it stir?
I think it's hard to put in words. And I think you and I have been through the heartbreak of a lifetime. And everything that took place that week, really when JD got sick, one of the questions I had, why didn't God show up through all that, 5 years? God did show up, and it was at this Daytona 500.
That's storybook stuff right there.
That was meant to be.
Let's go grab something to eat and talk a little bit more about football and a little bit more about this.
I'm ready and I'm hungry.
All right, you drive, man. You drive.
Okay, you got it.
I'm looking forward to this. This your car?
This is my car. It's the Lexus.
You're my #1 driver today.
About halfway through the interview, he said, hey, Joe, he said, I own that building there. And he pointed at the Chrysler building.
No way. No way.
I'm talking to a guy that owns the Chrysler building.
No
I'm
way.
sitting here, I'm so intimidated.
Now, obviously, you grew up in California, spent a little bit of time in Washington. I've heard, I don't know, but I know you spent a little bit of time up that way. But is this home now? What is?
Well, that's interesting because I was born in Knoxville.
Yes, which fascinated me when I found that out.
I'm 40 miles from where I was born. Went up and spent a lot of time around Asheville. Then I moved to California when I was 16. Then Pat and I are all around the country, and then we come right back 40 miles from where I was born. I said, I'm like the salmon. I'm going home.
Going home. So it is.
So I look at North Carolina as that's my background, and I love it. So it's great being here. I love it.
Yeah.
I really do.
I was thinking about it. You have been in racing longer than you were a coach.
Yes. Now, you know, I came down to ask Richard about getting into racing.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, what are you doing? What's the deal? I said, Richard, I'm thinking about getting in racing. He went just like this. He goes, why?
Why? That's exactly right. But that was I remember when you came, because that was a big day for him, because he has been a Redskin fan.
Yes, he has.
His entire life. He and Dale.
I knew that.
Because when they were growing up, that's the only football team they got on the radio. That's all they had.
I grew up, like I said, Nick, my uncle had the first TV set. He would turn it around, and we would sit on the bank outside of his house and watch the Redskins.
Yeah.
That's all we could get.
Yeah, that's all you could get. That's right.
Charlie Choo Choo Justice. I mean,
yeah,
that was
man.
it, man.
That's what it goes back to, man. So where are you taking me to dinner? Where are we going to dinner?
I got to tell you, let's go to 131. We kind of hang out over there at lunch. A bunch of our people do. And
is that your place?
Pat and I kind of go at night.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's one of the places for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Is this the Joe Gibbs table? I mean, they've set us back here in a corner by ourselves. Is this?
No, this is a Kyle Petty, and you're picking up the tab too. I just want you to know that.
We've established that. I will get the tab on this. So I'm really excited about this, man. I have been really looking forward to this. So I'm just going to jump in. What was the early years of Joe Gibbs' life like?
Yeah.
What were those years like?
Absolutely loved it. Had a ball. I had a great family life, and my dad was a deputy sheriff. My mama took care of the house and worked as a telephone operator, and it was a great life growing up. My big interest was sports.
Yeah.
It was football, basketball, and baseball. Now I wasn't a real good athlete. I tell everybody the only award I ever got in sports was most improved. But I loved it, and I was, that was kind of my life here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with cars.
Yep.
And so then when I got to be 16, my uncle had moved to California, got a great job. And so everybody started following him out to California.
So when you moved to California, from what I read, you were a star quarterback here now. You went to junior college and transferred to San Diego State.
San Diego
right?
State.
It's pretty good. You had to be decent, man.
Yeah.
You had to be more than just most improved.
I think decent's a good way of putting it. But, in those days, 4 of us went on to San Diego State.
Okay.
And, played under Don Coryell there, who had a big impact on me in football. And so I kind of became focused on football at that point.
But when you graduated from college, from San Diego State, you became a coach there.
Well, I was fortunate because when I finished playing football, I just went in and volunteered. I said, Coach, I'll work for nothing. Just, can I be a gopher? And he said, I think you need to start on defense with my defensive coach, John Madden.
So it was you and Madden. Yeah.
I started over with Madden.
Yeah.
Then we had a spring game, and I wouldn't give him the plays. He wanted the plays, and I wouldn't give him to it because I was playing in the spring game, had all my buddies. He fired me after the game. And so,
No way.
yeah, I walk into Coryell the next day, and I said, Coach, I said, John fired me. And he goes, shoot, fella, why don't you come over and work with me on offense? So that's how I got the offense. So I laughed. I said, no, Madden fired me, and I went to offense. So that's
No
where
way.
I went. Yeah. And so when I had a chance to move back into pro ball with Don Coryell again at St. Louis, that was kind of a natural move for me and Pat.
Yeah.
And really, it was kind of, you don't have a plan in life. You're just kind of going.
Yeah. So you applied for a few head coaching jobs. Didn't work out. But in 1980, you got a head coaching job.
Yeah.
That worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
So tell me about the call to be head coach for the Washington Redskins.
That was one of the thrills that anybody could ever have. We had just lost a playoff game in San Diego with the Chargers, where I was. Bobby Beathard called me that night before I even got home, and he said, would you like to interview for the Washington Redskins job? I freaked out. I'd never been a head coach, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was a crazy thing. We flew to New York, not Washington. Mr. Cook was in the hotel there, and I started interviewing with him, and he was so intimidating. About halfway through the interview, he said, hey, Joe, he said, I own that building there. And he pointed at the Chrysler building.
No way. No
I'm
way.
talking to a guy that owns the Chrysler building.
No
I'm sitting
way.
here. I'm so intimidated. I didn't sleep for 2 days.
No way.
I was so excited. And then it dawned on me, all those people are counting on me. We got to win.
Yeah.
And then I start out 0-5.
So
I was just looking for a different way home at night.
were those sleepless nights when you started out 0-5?
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
you
bet they
talk
were.
about some pressure,
Yeah.
you know. And then we got it turned around. And we had great players there. I really appreciate our players. The people made it go.
Yeah.
If I pick the right players, they're going to make me look good. The front office, our fan base in Washington, none better. People talk about winning Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. They left out, I had 3 great ones.
Yeah.
So-
Yes, you did. Yeah, you did.
So anyway, it was just the greatest experience, I think. And because of that, you're driven because you don't want to let those people down. You want to win. I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world. God has blessed me with, most people never get to have one dream.
Yeah.
I've had 2.
And that's where I want to go with this question is you were a California boy. Why NASCAR?
Well, when both boys were growing up, they had everything with a motor on it. It was go-karts, jet skis, motorbikes. They grew up on all that.
Yeah.
And so when JD came out of school, he actually said to me, he and Coy, both of them said, hey, Dad, we'd love to do something in racing. And so I said, gosh, you know, that's a totally different world. And so I said, we got nothing.
Yeah.
But I said, we'll put a dream on a sheet of paper. We'll probably get to visit 3 or 4 sponsors and see if anybody's crazy enough to do this.
Yeah.
And I showed up on Norm Miller's doorstep. And I remember I walked in that meeting with them. They had all the executives there. And they said, now, who's your driver? And I said, we don't have one. He goes, where's your race shop? And I said, we don't have one.
Yeah.
And so I said, I said, Norm, this is a dream on a piece of paper.
Yeah. I got to have something to eat. So
Okay.
we're going to take a little break here and start our meal a little bit because I've been talking about food since we started this show. So we'll get some food and then we'll
Let's do it.
continue on.
Let's do it. The thing I'll always second guess the most is missing so much of Coy and JD's growing up games and everything that they got to play because I was so focused on football. I wished I'd handled that differently. I do like their salmon here. I'm ready.
Here it is. Oh, look at Mr. Healthy there. Look at that.
I did good.
Yeah, you did. Oh, this looks incredible. Like this is what you cook at home for yourself too every night?
No.
What do you mean
I wouldn't
no?
say that. I don't think we don't get stuff like this.
Do you cook
but
at home?
No, I'm not a cook.
I can cook as long as it's like cereal. You know what I mean? I'm really good with it. I'm really good with a gallon jug of milk. All right, as good as the food is, I still got more questions, okay? So as a football coach, to be successful, you have to be focused, you have to be dedicated, you have to be driven. You've won Super Bowls, Cup championships, Xfinity championships. What have you sacrificed to say, I wish I'd have done this better? I wish I'd have been.
I think that's a great question. And I think the thing I'll always second guess the most is missing so much of Coy and JD's growing up, games, and everything that they got to play, because I was so focused on football. I wished I'd handled that differently. The thing I second guess, I think, the most about my life is that. I mean, I think for me, the challenge has always been keeping the right priorities, God first, my family and the influence I'm having on others second, and then my occupation. Because at times, I get things, I got the wrong priorities in the wrong order. So biggest things I second guess about the way I handle football.
So I want to ask you about JD. And we have both walked that same path in the same shoes.
Yes.
It's a hard road. Going through everything you went through with JD, and ultimately JD's passing, how did that change you? Yeah. And how has it continued to change you? Because I don't think it'll ever stop changing me.
No. We have suffered the greatest heartbreak, I think, in life.
Yes.
And I know with you and Adam, and when that happened, all of us, I felt you're sitting back looking at that, but knowing the pain that you went through. And then to have everything happen with JD and to go through that with him, I don't think you can even put it in words. It's changed me for sure. Yep. It changed all of us that are around him family-wise. When you have a loss like that you and I have experienced, I think it just gives me more of a feeling I really want to invest myself.
Yeah.
My ministry in the first book was Game Plan for Life. After he went to be with the Lord, I didn't have a game plan for loss.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody
does.
And so I just kind of embarked on going to visit pastors and studying what God's Word said. And the hope would be that it would help somebody maybe that's gone through what you and I have gone through. And there's a lot of people that have kind of, when you visit with people, you realize how many people have lost someone.
Right.
They really
you don't know it until you get out and people start bringing it to you. Is there one thing that you can take from JD and say, I want to be more like him in this way?
Yeah, I think it was the fact so many people came back to us after JD went to be with the Lord and wrote letters and notes about how he saw them in some situation and went to them. JD was so good at individually going to people and telling them how much he appreciates them. He really did so much more of that than I do.
Yeah, for all of us, life does move on. And you spoke about your grandkids. How much joy does that bring you to see them living their dreams and living their best life and doing that part?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest things about grandkids, I mentioned some of the mistakes I felt like I made with JD and Coy. It's like having a second chance all over again. And so, you love being with them and everything. I got depressed, here recently because my youngest now is 13. Yeah. And so I said, oh my gosh. And then it dawned on me, I could have a great grandkid.
That's good. Always growing the team. Always growing the team. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So you said it. You've been able to live two dreams. You're in the NFL Hall of Fame and the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Maybe the only guy that ever achieves that. I can't think of anybody else crazy enough to even try that. Let me go there.
Nobody else is nuts enough to do this.
But when people remember Joe Gibbs, what do you want them to remember? And when you get there and walk through that gate and see JD, what do you want them to think of Joe Gibbs when he gets there?
It's not, races and money and position. It's going to be the influence we've had on others.
Yeah.
So hopefully I would hope that I have a godly influence on others. And then when I get to heaven, like I said, I'll probably get a big old hug from behind with JD. And the thought is, we go through some tough times down here on earth. We did with JD and with Adam. But up there is forever.
Yeah.
And it's glory forever.
Yeah.
And that's exciting for me.
Yeah. Been a blessing for me, and
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Is my name still on?
What a day with Coach Gibbs.
I'm not a good mechanic, I'll tell you that.
On the field or in the garage area. It's hard to find a man with more passion about his work, his relationships, and his faith. The trophies he's collected are impressive, but where Coach excels is challenging his team to live with purpose so they can run their race with honor. And today, that honor was all mine. See you next time on Dinner Drive. Thank you.